Good people, what's up? It's Pete Thorn. Welcome to my studio. I hold in my hands here, all the way from Croatia, from the folks at Dawner Prince Effects, the Boonar. This is a fantastic sounding delay echo pedal that you heard on all the guitar parts on the track at the beginning of the video, of course, and I think it sounds great. Now, BINSON ECHOREC. It's amazing the resurgence that the BINSON ECHOREC has had in the last few years. I mean, everybody always talked about space echoes and echoplexes and all that good stuff, but the ECHOREC was always kind of like, I don't know, the underdog or something like that, I feel like, and yet was used on classic Pink Floyd stuff, and such a fantastic sounding delay. And I'll admit that I had no idea what one sounded like. I mean, I played through space echoes and echoplexes back when I was a kid, but I'd never had the chance to try a BINSON. And so it's only been, in the last few years, really, that I've been familiar and become familiar with this sound, and through some of the great pedals that are coming out now that aim to shoot for the tone of an original BINSON. Now, I'll admit, I've still never actually played through one. I've got a good friend, Kevin Sir, who bought one. And I mean, I'm talking it's multi-thousands of dollars. It was an insane amount of money, but he's a delay aficionado. And he's got one, so I can't wait to play through his one of these days. But anyways, this pedal just sounds fantastic. That's all I know. And they went to great lengths to recreate the characteristics of the BINSON in DSP. Now, as far as the preamp circuitry and stuff in this pedal that is surrounding all the delay stuff, evidently they recreated all that using kind of modern technology and FETs and stuff, but trying to stay true to the original circuit so that it had the sound of the original pedal. And then with the DSP, they spared no expense, just as far as trying to recreate all the kind of irregularities and oddities and good kind of weird stuff that a BINSON is known for. So I've done videos for other BINSON style delays, and I've explained this before, but I'll go over it one more time just quickly here. The BINSON basically had this mechanical disc, and that's how it achieved its delay effects. I don't know if it actually, if the sound got printed on the disc or what, but it had this spinning disc in it, great big disc. And the irregularities of that disc spinning and the other parts that would touch it, that was what would create the magical kind of modulation and warble and really cool kind of almost, psychedelic effects that the BINSON's known for. When that disc would age and wear and things would become irregular and that kind of thing, some really magical, wonderful things happened. The other thing that the BINSON could do is it had multiple taps in it. So in other words, you could get multiple different delay times going and get some really interesting rhythmic kind of effects going, and almost reverb-like washes, really kind of primitive reverb, but essentially, the more taps you would engage and things like that, you get these multiple delay taps going, and that would kind of wash all the sound together and give you some really beautiful effects. So the controls on this pedal, what we've got here is an on-off switch for the delay on the right-hand side here, for the echo. On the other side, there's a switch labeled swell repeats. And what that does is kind of increase the sort of reverb-like quality of the pedal. More on that in just a bit, and I'll show you what that does. Then we've got the volume control here. This is basically like a delay mix. This allows you to mix in the echo effect. Next up here, we've got a bass and treble, kind of a tone control. Really, really subtle in its operation, but it definitely is a little darker in the bass side and a little brighter in the treble side. And I guess that's some characteristic of the original BINSON. It had that control, and it was also quite subtle in the sweep of that control, so they aimed to just kind of recreate that. Now the swell control is the next one here. What this is going to do is delay feedback. Okay, so when you're anywhere above about 3/4 of the way up, you're going to start to get into some sort of infinite repeat and oscillation kind of territory pretty quickly, and below that you can get some more sort of controlled repeats. And actually I shouldn't say that it's out of control even when it's oscillating, because it's really actually quite controllable in its oscillation, even when the feedback is infinite and kind of bubbling all over the place and doing its thing. It's pretty magical sounding and pretty easy to control, I should say. The drum speed is the next control. This is delay time, essentially. Okay, and anywhere up to 1,000 milliseconds with this pedal. An original BINSON ECHOREC could only do up to about 300 milliseconds. This pedal will go out to 1,000 milliseconds and as short as 40 milliseconds on the shortest delay tap. So what do I mean by that? Well, more in a minute here, but there's 4 different delay taps available here in this pedal, which means you can get 4 different kind of, for any one given setting, you can get 4 different taps going, anywhere from 40 milliseconds out to 1,000 milliseconds at the longest. So the white buttons here labeled playback heads, these are your delay taps, and just by engaging those, you can get some different sort of rhythmic subdivisions going. So if you've got the delay set for, say, a quarter note when this right button is engaged here, if that's your kind of quarter note tempo, the next one over will be a dotted eighth. The next one will be an eighth note, and the next one over will be a 16th note, essentially. I'm going to demonstrate it. It's easier to listen to, actually, than it is to explain. Okay, last but not least, for controls on this delay, there's a micro kind of screwdriver control here you can adjust, and that'll adjust the drum age, okay? So when that's in its lowest setting, you're going to get the least amount of warble and modulation and the brightest tone out of the delay. As you increase that, it's going to sort of, you know, mimic the darkening as well as the increased modulation and sort of irregularity of a worn drum in a BINSON ECHOREC. I didn't actually touch that in this video because this thing just sounds so perfect. Every now and then I get a pedal and I like it so much that I really don't want to mess with certain controls, especially if they're on like little mini pots, because I just feel like I'm going to screw up the magic tone of the pedal, and I feel like it came from the factory adjusted just perfect. So anyway, I left that where it is because the modulation in this thing and the overall darkening kind of tonal character of the pedal is just beautiful, so I wanted to leave it. There's one more control on the pedal, and that's an input gain control on this side. It also sounded fine to me, and I left that where it is, but if you want to get, I assume, a little bit more headroom out of the pedal, if you're using high output pickups and they're distorting the delay or something, you could probably back that down a bit and control your headroom. Okay, let's get on to some sound examples with this pedal. I want to solo some parts from the song at the beginning of the video outside of the mix, and then I also want to give you some additional playing examples and kind of talking and play through examples so I can show you all the different stuff that this delay can do. All right, here we go. It is the Boonar from Dawner Prince. Good people, it's the Boonar delay from Dawner Prince all the way from Croatia. They did a beautiful job on this pedal, recreating the original BINSON ECHOREC tones of yesteryear, and you can now get all those great tones in a really, really small pedal here that won't cost you $5,000 like the original BINSON ECHOREC will. So you can check it out further at the website that you see there on your screen. And hey, please come back and see me for more videos real soon. Hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up if you dug the video. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope I'll see you all real soon. All right, take care. I'm Pete Thorn, over and out.